I pay zero attention whatsoever to the ratings debate, the ratings argument, all of this type of stuff. I love watching basketball. If you don't like it, you don't care about watching it, that's fine. That's all good. But I've just never really cared all that much to discuss the ratings. SJ tweeted this yesterday, and it's they pay people a lot of money to figure this stuff out, and they'll figure it out. Okay, but I have some opinions. And you know what? If I were to have a sit-down meeting with Adam Silver, which, Adam, I'm open to, man. My phone line is open, man. Hit me up, Adam. But, to have this conversation about how the league can grow and sort of recover a little bit from what has been a bit of a downturn ratings-wise. Now, let's start here. Because anytime this gets brought up, people always say, oh, well, this doesn't really count because nobody really watches the streams legally. That's what everybody always says. I think that's coped by NBA fans at large. Sure, maybe if I had to guess, NFL probably has the most illegal streams. Maybe even combat sports because of their pay to watch model. But the NBA, yeah, I'm sure that they have quite a bit of illegal streams happening. But to think that that's some huge chunk of the numbers, I would say is incorrect. Now, I don't know their method of putting ratings together. Because I would say the NBA's audience is the youngest amongst all of the professional sports. Okay? It is more catered towards a younger generation that is not going to watch sports in the traditional manner, meaning I'm not going to tune into ESPN on my TV. I'm going to stream those games. So I could be wrong here, but I'm not sure that the ratings model has fully caught up to that just yet. And I do think that's absolutely a thing. Okay. So let's look at this. Viewership in the NBA has been declining per Awful announcing. ESPN's opening doubleheader averaged 1.6 million viewers, down 42% from 2023's debut with Victor Wembanyama. So let's start right there. I feel like that's immediately kind of one of the problems with the NBA currently, but also this kind of throws it out. That ESPN doubleheader on Wednesday night featured the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Philadelphia 76ers, and if you recall that game, no Chris Middleton for the Bucks. Okay, whatever. You'll still tune in to watch Giannis and Dame. But no Joel Embiid and no Paul George for the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, guess what? I'm not watching that shit. If I'm a casual fan, I'm tuning that the fuck off. I don't care anymore. But also, if you were like me and a sicko fan, we streamed on playback.tv/highlybiased during these games. We did not watch a second of that game, I don't think. We watched other games on League Pass. There's more exciting games on League Pass. We don't care to watch the Skeleton Squad Sixers square off against, the Bucks. And let's not forget, the second game of that doubleheader was the Suns versus Clippers. Oh, of course, Kawhi Leonard's not playing for the Clippers. Guess what? People tuned out. That's it. People's brains, it's not difficult to understand sometimes. Oh, the other team's star player's not playing? All right, I'm out. Suns versus Clippers got 1.5 million viewers, down 49% from last year's comparable game. Is a comparable game the Wemby debut? That's not really that comparable, to be honest with you. But yeah, the viewership is down. TNT's Thursday night game, Spurs versus Mavericks, 1.45 million viewers, a 29% decrease from previous year's comparable game. I don't remember what last year's game was, but that, this is also kind of the problem. And this is a dilemma for the NBA, kind of a can't-win situation. Do you want to set up stars moving forward? You want to make sure that, casual fans and fans that kind of only tune in for the national games are getting a view of these young up-and-coming stars. So you want people to see Victor Wembanyama more and more and more and more. So when he's, finally clicking, and we'll talk about him here in a bit, but when he's finally clicking and the Spurs are good, everybody's tuned in. Everyone knows what they're looking for, right? The problem is with that is the Spurs aren't good. So I don't think they're really a draw just yet. And I don't think Victor is that big of a draw just yet. Because for all of the incredible stuff Victor does, his biggest strength as a player currently is his defense. That doesn't really sell in the NBA. It's really hard to sell that to fans. ESPN's Friday game, Pacers versus Knicks, 830,000 viewers. fewer than a college football game on ESPN2. God damn. Pacers and Knicks. That low in viewership, huh? Well, that was a blowout game. And I don't know how blowouts affect their viewership numbers. I'm not sure how blowouts affect their viewership numbers, but that was a blowout. So people tuned out probably immediately. So let's get into how can we combat this? What are some, in my opinion, what I think are easy, quick fix solutions to get people to care a little bit more. Okay, we'll talk about some of the bigger stuff here in a second, but the quick fix solutions. Number one, start the fucking games on time. Seriously. It sounds stupid. It sounds just like the easiest fix. That can't possibly matter. I actually think it does, man. The ESPN games and some of these games starting 15, 20 minutes past their scheduled tip-off time is absurd. It actually is. I guarantee you, people, it tunes some people out. Tune in, man. Seriously. Start on time. Okay, that. Secondly, what else can we do? I get that they want to have island games whenever they do the national TV schedules. So you'll see that, especially as the season, really ramps up. The Thursday nights on TNT, there's usually only 2 games. Sometimes maybe 3. You'll have 1 game just kind of floating in there that's not nationally televised. I get why they do that. They don't want to have any competition with their nationally televised games. I think they should start scheduling more games in that time window and just give themselves some flexibility to flex games if needed, okay? Because the fact of the matter is it's opening night. You can never predict injuries, right? But it's opening night, and already your opening night ratings are completely and totally tanked because Joel Embiid and Paul George aren't playing. So guess what? Nobody's watching. You're done. There's nothing you can do at that point from a rating standpoint. It's over and done with, okay? People are not going to be tuned in. People don't fucking care, right? So you need to have more flexibility in the games that you flex in, flex out. And that also could be, we get to certain points of the season. The NFL does this. It's easier for the NFL because there's so few games and you have a week notice and there's, everybody plays on the same day pretty much. But NFL does this where, hey, if your team is shit, we're taking you off. We're taking you off national TV. Unless you're on a Thursday or Monday night. You're done. I think the NBA should follow this, honest to God. NBA should follow this method. This team is fun and exciting. We didn't really expect it before the season started. Let's flex them into some more games. Okay? So those are just some, I think, easy, quick fix things that they could do to help improve ratings. How about some more deeper things? Okay? This has bugged me for so long. So long this has bugged me. This has bugged me for so long. You give your rights to ESPN. You let them talk about your sport, okay? They broadcast your sport. Now, from ESPN's side of things, you want people to tune into the games. That's the entire point. Folks, the ESPN exists and is as popular as it is because they have rights to broadcast sporting events. Nothing else. I know ESPN has sort of diluted themselves in past years into thinking that the reason why people tune in is for their personalities and all their shows. No. People tune in because you broadcast sporting events. That's it, right? And you just so happen to have shows on during the day that people then gravitate to. So, it makes sense from ESPN's side to, in their daily morning talk shows and all this shit to hype up the teams, hype up the players, hype up the games that they're going to be broadcasting. Does ESPN do that? Rarely, no. What does ESPN do? They spend most of their time shitting all over your league. I mean, just shitting all over it. The national media's coverage of the NBA, by and large, is like 80% negativity. 80% negativity. We're either talking about how boring the league is currently, how this player can't do this team can't do this player sucks because X, Y, and Z, this player's not as good as a player 20 years ago because X, Y, and Z, this player couldn't play 30 years ago because X, Y, and Z. And then they end all of that by saying, oh, but tonight, make sure you tune in to the Bucks and the Pacers. Literally a 5-minute segment. Tyrese Halliburton couldn't have played in the 90s. It was too physical. Tyrese Halliburton could never have made it. Tune in tonight. Tyrese Halliburton plays the Bucks. It's like, wait, you just told me he was shit. Why am I tuning in? You just told me that they suck. Oh, 3-point variance has ruined the league. It's terrible. They would never have played like this 20 years ago when it was just mid-range variance and everyone just shot the shittiest mid-range shot you've ever fucking seen. But now they shoot 3-pointers and now I hate it. Tune in tonight though. It's like, well, you just told me it sucked. Why would I tune in? And then your other major media partner, who will not be your media partner moving forward, but just this year, TNT deploys a halftime and postgame show where they spend the entire hour shitting all over your league. I mean, I've never seen this. No other league acts like this. No, the national media for every other league does not behave in this manner. Okay? They only talk about a handful of teams. That's right. If I'm silver in the league, I'm putting my foot down. I'm going to Amazon. I'm saying, hey, we're not letting you guys do what ESPN's done. You want to broadcast our league? Cool. But we're putting our foot down, man. NFL does this, I guarantee you. NFL controls what people talk about in the national media. There's a reason why they don't talk a lot about head injuries. It's sort of a taboo topic. NFL fucking came down on that. There's a reason why head injuries the conversation describing head injuries sort of start and stop with like, oh, that's sad. And not like, damn, this is dangerous, huh? Everyone talks about head injuries. Does ESPN talk about head injuries? I know people talk about head injuries. Does ESPN spend time on their show talking about head injuries in any real significant capacity? McAfee did? That's crazy. McAfee is on ESPN, man. That is actually crazy. I just don't like how ESPN and TNT don't have legitimate basketball analysts anymore. So I thought about this yesterday. Obviously, NBA is a star-driven league, right? Star-driven league. The most star-driven league in all of sports. The stars are at the forefront. You win because of your stars. NBA stars can become super mega celebrities. They're super marketable. All of this, right? I think that bleeds into coverage of the sport. You watch ESPN. ESPN has tricked themselves. This has happened over time. It's the Stephen A. Smith problem. It's happened over time where they've tricked themselves and have gone from, hey, people come to us for just sports coverage and, wall-to-wall sports coverage and live sporting events. They've tricked themselves into then thinking, actually, people come to us for our media personalities. That's what we need to do. We're an entertainment network now. We're not necessarily a sports network. And so it feels like NBA coverage has just turned into big personalities being big personalities and not talking about the NBA, not fully covering the NBA. They're not sitting down and watching TNT. You watch a TNT broadcast. Chuck is openly bragging about not watching. It's the strangest thing, man. Just the way that the NBA is covered by their media partners, by the networks that carry their league is strange to me. And I think it might have an effect on ratings, honest to God. I really do. I think it might have an effect on ratings. Now, from the gameplay side of things, the officiating has gotten out of control. Too many whistles. You've really got to figure out, one, how can we limit the number of whistles and stoppages in our game while still keeping the game competitive and fair? But also, two, we have to figure out what we are calling night to night. We can't be doing this ref crew does this ref crew does this. When you tune into an NBA game, you really have no idea what the fuck you're going to see from an officiating point of view. We have to lock in and figure out ways that we can call these games as consistently as possible. Because just from a Mavericks fan's perspective, I've watched a couple games this season. Game against the Timberwolves. Got a little ticky-tacky at times, but game against the Timberwolves, game against the Jazz. They are, they let them play physical. It was a very physical brand of basketball. Fun to watch from a viewer's perspective. They're not watching a game against the Suns where they're calling every single touch foul. And it's horrible to watch. And it's just confusing. It's very confusing. Stoppages have to get fixed. There's just too many timeouts, man. There's just way too many. I know you have to milk this audience for every penny you can get with these ad breaks and stuff, but man, don't you think in the long term it would be better for your league if you just kind of toned down these ad breaks? I feel like more people would watch. Long term, it would probably be for the best. It would probably be better long term. Probably be better long term if fans were like, oh, I know I can tune into an NBA game without being just blasted by ads. Just bombarded. Stoppages, I've already said this a million times. The replay stoppages, there's no reason, no rhyme or reason for replay stoppages to take 5 minutes. And I will say this, okay? When you go to a game, you notice this, is that replay stoppages are just convenient little excuses for them to cram in another 5-minute ad break. Because a lot of times they'll go to the monitor, it'll take them 10 seconds, and they'll announce it, and then we just spend the next 4 minutes in a commercial break. And then they kind of frame like, oh, we just got back, and here's the word. And it's just like, no, they said that actually 4 minutes ago, and we've been sitting in an ad break since. Have to curtail that. And then we get to the deeper sort of, I do think 3-point variance has had an effect on some of this. I'm not a believer in the 3-point shot is ruining the game. I'm not a believer in everybody shoots threes, everybody plays the same way. That's been a popular narrative lately. That's just so untrue. I mean, I don't know how you could watch the NBA and think that. My chat has just been freezing lately. I don't know what the fuck is going on here, man. So, yes, everybody shoots threes now. The way the teams go about it is different, though. So to act as if everybody is just bombing threes and it looks the exact same is incorrect to me. Morning, Josh. But what is 3-point variance? What's the problem 3-point variance has, though? It leads to way more blowouts. And so I do think you get people tuning out because, oh, this team has a 20-point lead in the second quarter. Now, if you watch basketball a lot, you know that in the last couple of years, a 20-point lead really is kind of a 12-point lead. Vlone is gifted 10 memberships. God damn. But the league has been, peace out, Vlone. High roller. We're building you a statue outside the club. But, the league has always been a copycat league, and when it wasn't 3-point shots, it was mid-range shots. I mean, it's always been like this, right? Always. I don't know what the solution could be there for the 3-point thing. Expanding the 3-point line, maybe getting rid of corner threes, maybe. I saw an offensive 3 seconds in the corner. That one is kind of interesting to me. That maybe keeping the corner three there, but you can't just camp in the corner. That one is sort of interesting. Also, changing, from what I've seen, these are too extreme. I know they are, but, you know, the NBA, adding a 3-point line in general was extreme, and they did it. What about the starting times for us European guys? Okay, can I just be completely honest with you? They don't care. And I don't say that trying to be mean. I'm saying the league does not care. about making sure European start times make sense. But, you know, every now and then they do, though. Like, you know, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of these matinee games, these Saturday day games, these Sunday day games, a lot of times they do feature like a European star or something. But they're not going to like, hey, we start at 4 p.m. on this Wednesday afternoon because we want it to start at 10 p.m. in Europe. Like, that's not going to be something that they do. I've seen people say make a 2-pointer 3 points and a 3-pointer 4 points. You just get it you just get into such a weird territory there with the changing of scoring and the you know, the record books and stuff like that. Although I guess they could go back and just retroactively change everyone's stats, but I don't know. I like NBA basketball. I don't get the 3-point discussion. I think it's just because 3-point variance in math means there are more blowouts. It does mean that leads don't really feel safe anymore. But I don't know what they fix. I don't know how they fix it, to be honest with you. Another thing I thought. Let me look at this. F1 ratings after show. So I love the idea of the Starting Five show on Netflix. Obviously, next year, NBA is going to Amazon. Going to be really, really interesting, right? I think that they need to do a similar show to the F1 show. The F1 show comes out on Netflix. People really, really like it. Their ratings absolutely skyrocket in the United States after that. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that F1 wasn't really a sport that people paid any attention to in the United States, and the show sort of shined a light on what this sport was, and people were like, oh, I find that interesting. I'm going to tune in now. But I like the idea of a show that sort of follows teams around, similar. You know, Starting Five is too casual. I mean, I don't know if anyone would tune into the Starting Five and be like, I need to watch the NBA this upcoming season. Like, it was more of just a character piece of all of the guys in the league. Does that make sense? More than anything else, it was just kind of like a character. Hey, look how Sabonis is. Look how cool Sabonis is and how nice of a dad he is. It's like, okay, well, I'm not tuning into Kings games because of that. I would like Amazon has shows like these, but I would like a Hard Knocks type of show. But instead of following one team, it just follows storylines. And we get it weekly. They can turn these things out weekly. They could churn these things out weekly, and we could, you know, follow the league in a way that's interesting, and Amazon could position it as, hey, tune into this show, but also, hey, guess what? Wednesday night. It's like, can you start the show over and repeat everything you said since the beginning? I just got here. Yeah, I got you. Hold on. Hey, guys. All right. Welcome into Slightly Early, a show about basketball. Today we're going to be talking about, anyways, this ratings conversation. There's some interesting things like the face of the league conversation. When LeBron and Steph are gone, who's going to be the big draw? We're waiting. Anthony Edwards has not made himself that guy yet. Tatum is not a draw whatsoever. Victor Wembanyama is not good enough yet. This guy's not falling. I think some of this has to do with the media rights deals changing and what's going on there. I'm interested to see how this looks moving forward. It can't be Luka, but I honestly think it could. No, I think it could be Luka, actually. I've changed my stance on this. I think Luka, if the Mavericks keep winning at high levels, I think Luka is like, hey, you need to tune in to see what this guy's going to do tonight. It usually comes down to winning a lot. That's what the faces of the league do. Win a bunch.